this shit lasts. Burning down to the wake-up call, to the sun grows cold, to the making it down. Judgment is what they find us, so deep out of space of dungeons. And imagine you bust it, you find one back and run. It's not talking about what's begun, free mind.
You have dialed has been changed. The new number is, please note. Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. Run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and the I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming, for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat at time, I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a conflict in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Cheers to all of you lovely people joining us here tonight. It's Thursday night. It's party time. We're the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson. Right beside me, you might know him, the man with the angelic voice, Mr. Papa Smokes. And we have a very, very special guest joining us. It is the second member of the Beaumaye Fight Club joining us in back-to-back weeks. Right down below, there he is, the muscle of the group, Mr. Thomas. Sir, how are you? And thank you for joining us here tonight.
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me. I'm on time. I'm in the picture. I look kind of like my promo picture from 5 years ago, but things are still good, right? A little more
That's
gravy.
right. You know you're doing well when 5 years has passed and you're looking just as sharp as ever. And we got
Ooh, I like
we
that.
got Chris Parrish joining us in the chat. Good evening, Chris. He says, Olay, Mr. Thomas, care to do the Olay Pod Challenge? I knew he was going to throw this out here. So we've just started our local establishment, Olay, and the Olay Pod Challenge. We're getting everybody to get in there and give us a big old Olay that we could get here on the podcast.
Oh, do I got to build up to it or just right at it?
Yes, just a big one.
Olay!
There we go. There we go. We got him. There you go.
That reminds me of a guy I used to know. I wore that mask one time. Weird guy, very generic.
Yep, and we got Auntie Wuji joining us as well too. If you want to ever get a great tarot reading or anything like that, reach out to Auntie Wuji right there. Wonderful human being, does some great work as well too. But we're here. It's Thursday night. It's time to talk about some MLW. It's time to talk Beaumaye. And that's what we're going to be discussing because this Sunday, MLW Fightland taking place in Philadelphia, Philly. It's going to be at the 2300 Arena, and we've got a big 3 versus 3 matchup. It's the Beaumaye Fight Club. Mr. Thomas, Alex Kane, and the young goat Myron Reed taking on the Billington Bulldogs and Davey Boy Smith Jr. Mr. Thomas, we talked with Alex Kane just last week all about this, and we want to know your thoughts going into this. You got a couple of really, really young up-and-comers in the Billington Bulldogs there, but a lot of experience on the side of Davey Boy Smith Jr. What's rolling through your mind going into this one?
I mean, it's those kids you got to worry about. I mean, I don't know much yet. I didn't watch any film. I'm not going to lie. I don't do that much homework. I will between now and then. Don't get me wrong. But they seem a little on the smaller side, so I expect a lot of flips and flops. So it's just a matter. I'll catch one of them and throw him into the 5th row, and we'll be fine. Dave Boy Smith Jr. has been around the block. He's a big dude. We've met before, not one-on-one, but outside the wrestling ring. I think we'll be all right. I feel like I match up. I know I get overlooked. I'm a little underrated, but you know, he ain't got to be the biggest dude in the ring. I promise you that.
Yeah. And we got a comment coming in here right there from Mr. Ed Fries. Ed, thanks for joining us tonight. He wants to know, Mr. Thomas, what was it like coming through the Ring of Honor dojo?
Well, who's this guy get his information from? Nobody even knows that. Oh, now I got to tell stories? Oh, man. I don't like this. But No, actually, with this show being in Philadelphia, my hometown, so this will all make a little more sense. I was originally trained by Delirious, also debuting for MLW this weekend at the 2300 Arena, ironically. He was my original trainer way back in, someone's got to figure out how old I am, but 2010, I think I started training. I was right in the class before Cheeseburger, but I trained with them for probably a year or two. Yes, go Phils. That's why I'm back in Philadelphia. We're going to the World Series. We're going to win this. I trained with Delirious at the ROH dojo right up until they were bought out by Sinclair. And I guess they moved the school to Baltimore, and then I switched over to Shakara. A lot of people know me originally from Shakara, where I was on a Shakara original, but then I went on the train with Mike Quackenbush, Drew Gulak, Orange Cassidy, cats of that nature. So my experience comes from all ways of the land. So you never know what you're going to get with me.
Well, on the subject right now, you talk about Chikara. What is the big difference between working over in somewhere like Chikara, working overseas versus coming to North America and working for a company like MLW?
Shakara is very different. That a very small fan base. It's almost like doing like theater per se. Like, you can do theater, you can do TV shows, you can do movies. It's still acting, but theater is a very specific type of acting for those who've ever been to any type of live show. And you're really playing to the audience, and it's very character-based driven, and they take things very, very seriously at Shakara. Not that wrestling fans don't, but it's just more, it was looked closely upon almost like a comic book, because things that had happened previously kind of led up to it. So you're always that character, in that character. Not a lot of things change, and very, very specific story driven, as opposed to, any other independent or MLW where you have a bigger story arc, but you can kind of work your magic within the match. So Shakara is a different, we can do a whole 5-hour show on Shakara, but on the fan base, but it's unlike anything in the world. It's great. And a lot of great wrestlers came from there, but you learn a lot when you're there and you're kind of playing to that crowd, and you almost have to tone it back when you go to a more serious fight style of professional wrestling.
Yeah, that tends to be the presentation that MLW goes for, but the fusion is a nice touch, being able to bring all sorts of wakes of life from all over the world. It's
I want to see everybody fight, baby. No weight classes. Let's go.
Yeah, we got Chris Parrish mentioning 5 hours. Let's do. We need content. Yeah, I know we do.
We can do a Shakara marathon. We can set it up, man. Everyone has stories for days. Great stories. A lot of bad things came from the Shakara, but more better things did, though.
There we go. We might have to set that up sometime down the road, because I know there's definitely some Chikara fans out this way for sure. Bob Smokes, you've been a little quiet here tonight. We know you're itching to ask some questions, so I'm going to give you the floor.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thanks again for doing this, Mr. Thomas. It's a real pleasure to have you on the show. Just sitting here right now, looking at your shoulders and looking at your trapezius muscles, it brings me to ask you what I ask some of our guests, and I really have to ask it to you about your journey with workouts and bodybuilding. When did this start? How did you get into it? And can you just give us an introduction of how you got to be so tremendously massive?
I love it. Love the great question. And thank you for the compliment. I don't know. I think I've been a lifelong wrestling fan. I'm ironically not a failed football player. I wish I was. I would have a little more budget to get gotten started. But I loved wrestling since day one. I just happened to end up being 6'5" in real life, and wasn't the biggest dude in high school. I kind of was more of a late bloomer, and I was very, very skinny and thin. And just eventually, I didn't hit the gym till I was like 20, 21, only because I wanted to train to be a wrestler, and I refused to show up to anywhere not looking the part. It's that old, Vince McMahon would say, would they think you're a wrestler if they saw you in the airport?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So once I hit the gym and kind of got into it, it just, it became second nature. And now I tell people at this point, it's just consistency, because it's just old like this. I remember when I was a young buck, like muscle maturity was a word that was always thrown around, and it made no sense. Now, as a possibly above 30-something-year-old male who's been working out for 10 plus years, muscle maturity is a real thing, and it'll stay there if you just keep at it. So, I mean, I could go 3-4 weeks without working out, and, to a normal person still look great in the mirror. The body dysmorphia is crazy, but I can get right back into shape as soon as I hit the gym, 2-3 weeks later.
All right. It's so interesting.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key. There you go. Anybody watching along that ever wants to be a wrestler, take that in mind. Just consistency is key.
It's all about consistency, and then just listening to your body. If your legs hurt, don't do legs that day. Like, you'll be fine. Just do something else. Just, if you don't feel good, skip the gym, rest. It's okay. It'll be okay.
You bet. Pop Smokes, let's hit up another one. What you got there?
For sure. We talked about bodybuilding. Let's hear about your journey as a wrestler then. In your early 20s, like you were just saying, starting to train, starting to get big for wrestling, and you trained with Delirious. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into wrestling?
I was dying to be a wrestler. I always was the only thing. Everyone has that dream. It was the only thing I ever wanted to do. Kind of just showed up one day. I knew the school was near me. The ROH dojo at the time was in Bristol, Pennsylvania, which is the town that's connected to my hometown. Like, my first job as a teenager was in Bristol, Pennsylvania. So when I say 20 minutes from my house at the most, it couldn't have been more convenient because, a good friend of mine, Colby Godwin, had moved up from Alabama. He moved his whole life to the suburbs of Philadelphia to go to the dojo. So I literally just showed up one day. I had saved enough money that I knew I'd be able to afford it. I was lucky enough to have, support, not just like moral support, but a little coin from the old man. My parents were very supportive of me at the time as well. So I was able to pay it all up front type of thing so I could get a little bit of a discount. It was the only way I could con my dad into giving me like $700. Like, oh, brother, if I get the discount, I pay now. And then I won't quit.
Yeah.
I'll give up all the money. So it was a lot of that. And I'm very blessed for it to be super convenient to my home. So I was able to be home, like in my bed 20 minutes later, suffering after my first day of wrestling school that I wanted to quit and die.
Yeah.
First day is
I hear,
always rough.
yeah, I hear that's common for the first day.
The first day. I thought
Yeah.
that on the second day, the fifth week.
Yeah.
It was a very long process before we made it into the ring, which I think with Delirious being from the Midwest, he has a very old school mentality. You absolutely had to earn it. And I tell you, on day one, there was 15, 16 people there who were super happy. There was half of that the next day. And it eventually dwindled down to, 2-3 people max towards the end there. So.
Yeah. That's always the worst because then it's only 2 or 3 of you taking the consistent bumps the entire time.
It's brutal. It's just like we can only work with each other and beat each other up all day. It's just like it makes it harder for everyone. But now I've been to places like the Monster Factory where I just kind of pop in and train every once in a while, and 10, 15, 20, 30, sometimes 35 kids on a certain night. So business is booming for wrestling right now, and it's definitely a lot different than it was 15 years ago or 10 years ago when I started. So way more kids showing up now for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of different too, MLW is now moving off to YouTube by the sounds of it. It's going to be going over to Pro Wrestling TV. Again, everybody who hasn't gone and checked out Pro Wrestling TV yet, what the hell are you doing? After this show, I demand that you go over to Pro Wrestling TV, get on there, get yourself ready, or go get the Plex app on your smart TV, whatever the hell you need to do, because next Thursday night, it is MLW Fusion returning back after a very long hiatus. Very
Vacation.
much
I like the term vacation. Why can't it just be a short vacation?
That's right. It was
permanent vacation.
It was a summer fall break this year.
We were going to a new season.
That's right. So the new season beginning with the Battle Riot. I want to get your thoughts. The Battle Riot obviously was pre-taped quite a while ago, but let's just say what's in store for next week. What can you tell us? What do you got in store for all the opponents inside that 40-man Battle Riot?
I'm still sore from the Battle Riot. I think when it comes out next Thursday, you'll see why. But a fight is an understatement. It was a very long day for everybody. A lot of heads were beaten up, but a lot of new faces, a lot of familiar faces, new stories to be told. So definitely don't miss it. Do what you have to do. Catch it, watch it, rewatch it. Also keep an eye out for Vlad the Superfan making his triumphant return to New York City. I was very happy to meet Vlad. That's the only spoiler I'll give. I don't mark out for very many people. I've met a lot of famous people in my life, but when I turned the corner and saw Vlad, I lit up like a Christmas tree. So, and I got to yell at him a little bit throughout the night because, if MLW's there, I'm everywhere. So you see me 10 times on these next couple tapings coming up here.
Perfect. That's a good thing. Good news. We got a question coming in from Chris Parrish. We'll throw that one up here. It says, with guys like Ron Simmons breaking the
Ooh.
mold for black wrestlers, we have seen multiple more black world champions in Ron Killings, Kofi Kingston, Big E, Bobby Lashley as examples. But what does this do to influence more black people to enter the world of professional wrestling?
I mean, that's a very loaded question, and I don't like that I'm being shot this on the moment. But no, I will say this is a true story. My parents come to everything, for the record. If it's within 3 hours driving distance, my parents have been to more wrestling shows than I think I have. So my mother was at the last MLW show that was in Philadelphia, yada, yada, yada. Her only feedback, despite me getting beat up and whatever happened, was that MLW is a very diverse place. And she was saying that she's never seen so many black people, women, luchadors. It kind of seemed like it was a little bit of everything, because it was her first show, and she does keep up with the product. It was on the old BN Sports, but now again, we got a new home next week. But she was just pointing out that very inclusive, and I've had people come to my shows that just there's everyone's welcome in wrestling, and I think it goes big to that. And just wrestling's supposed to be a safe place. I hate safe place, safe space, whatever you want to say it. I normally don't use words like that, but like it really is. Wrestling welcomes all. There's nobody cares. Nobody cares what color you are, what you look like, how tall you are, how much you weigh. You get in those ropes, or you're there to support the people that are in those ropes. We're all family in that room. So, I mean, Ron Simmons and everybody like that led the way, and just when you check out MLW, you'll see a very diverse crowd. I believe that.
Yeah. And that's the one thing we've noticed and we love about it. Again, we get people from all over the world, get the opportunity to see faces that normally you wouldn't get to see on the regular TV that you would have done, back in the 80s and 90s when I would have been tuning in, maybe a little bit further back for Pop Smokes there. I'm not too sure, but it's
there's nowhere in the world that you can see someone like the Judge, EJ, as much as I can't stand this guy, not my favorite person in the world, but the man, he's built like any creative wrestler. I think I used to create somebody who looked like EJ. Don't tell him that. He was jacked to the gills, 6'7", natural athlete, and then the very next match, Microman, the world's greatest wrestler, pound for pound. There's, just to give you just a big diverse and everything in between, of course. So,
well, wonderful answer. Pop Smokes, back over to you, my man.
Okay, we've seen you debut in the Bombardier Fight Club with Alex Kane and now Myron Reed. I was wondering how you see your role in the Bombardier Fight Club. You guys have 3 guys, so there can be pursuit of singles titles or tag team titles. Where do you fit in Bombardier Fight Club?
Well, everyone just thinks I'm the muscle, but I do got my tights in the bag every once in a while. So occasionally they force me to come out of retirement. But yeah, I mean the possibilities are endless. We used to have a whole saying in Shikara. Everything turns into a trio. So we all know Court loves the 6-man tags. So we have, what do we have now? The Smoke SWAT team's back. Boombaye, we have 3 guys now, maybe 4, maybe 5. You never know. All 4 of the groups love gang violence, man. This is, all over again. So MLW is big on groups and factions. So you knew it wasn't just going to be us 2 for a hot minute. But I'm all about maybe taking the tag titles, maybe someone taking the heavyweight title, maybe us having all the titles, whatever. Maybe Microman will join and we'll be the 4 amigos, Boombaye. Who knows? The options are limited. Maybe we'll get one of the girls to show up and we'll have both the girl belts. Like, we do whatever we want here.
Well, see, that's the one we were speculating as well, too, because we know that now that featherweight championship is roaming around MLW.
I like that feather. Do you see that design? It's one of the best designs I've seen in a minute.
It's a hell of a belt, too.
I love to hold that thing on the way to the ring.
And while it's great that Ty is from Canada, just like ourselves, I'm not saying I would be against her losing to somebody that's joining the Bomaye Fight Club. Being a fan of Bomaye.
We'll see. It's a closed group right now, but Alex Kane's the man. We knew that when he was by himself. I think him and I together are a great team. For as big as I am, sometimes you just can't see me coming. Myron and I have some stuff up our sleeves that, again, you'll see this Sunday in that 6-man tag. I've been waiting to work with him. Whether we were going to be on the same side of the ring or the opposite side of the ring, he does some amazing stuff. Talent beyond belief, more athletic than anyone who can ever imagine. And he wakes up and he does it effortlessly. It's just, which is more annoying. It's the worst thing about him. But I think, you know, him and I playing, you know, the quick high flyer and the powerhouse, we got some stuff up our sleeves. The group chat's been popping this week. So he's got ideas that I don't even wake up with. So I'll pick somebody up and throw him up. I'm sure he'll figure out how to double twist back, triple jump, and make it look effortless like always. So we'll be fine.
I can't wait to see that image on the television. That's going to be fantastic. Papa Smokes, you got another ace up your sleeve there?
Well, I was just going to say, I always like those. There's various kinds of tag teams in wrestling. There's the matched pair, you know, with the same gear and they kind of look the same. But I like the mismatched teams where there's one big, strong guy and one smaller, speedy guy. That can be the best team sometimes. That could be you and the young goat right there.
I definitely was. I was curious to see what the match was going to be because I knew we were going to do something. And I just kind of wait for someone to tag me before I assume what we're doing at the show. Because if there's not a match announced, you know, we're come out and we'll make our own match. So I was pretty certain it would be me and Alex Kane tag teaming again. But I love the fact that it's a 6-man, so we can all get out there and we've been waiting for this. This is our time to shine. Both these guys are pissed. The definition of pissed. Because we're about, I don't know if you can tell, about 27 and a half pounds lighter on gold, and that won't be tolerated. So we got a lot of showing up to do. So we're gonna back some things up, and we're gonna show them why we're a group. We got matching jackets, so we are a team. So we have to show everyone that we're a team. All right. So keep your head up and your eyes open. Trust me.
All right, we're gonna go to this question from Ahmed here. He says, because who on the WWE or NXT roster would you like to lock up with that you haven't had an opportunity against yet?
Oh, I got a laundry list of people.
Let's dish.
And NXT, the Casper brothers for sure are the best. The Creed brothers, the Creed brothers. Casper, that's maybe what he saved on my phone as. But definitely those guys. Omar just came back. I'm trying to think who in NXT. I think my dream match, I'll tell you right now, my dream match is Gunther. I mean, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's
the
first two people Gunther met when he came to America for Evolve was myself and Stokely Hathaway. So if you can imagine this car ride from New York City to Joppa, Maryland, it was quite a ride. But yeah, I think that's my number one. That's my number one dream match for sure. I forever Walter, Gunther, whatever you want to call him, as long as his name's capitalized, let's get it.
Yeah,
he would kill me though. He's the greatest wrestler in the world. So
phenomenal, and I would pay money to see that match any day.
I tried. We were close. It didn't happen. Tried to make it happen at Beyond up in New England. It just couldn't line up.
Hey, still lots of time. But Chris Parrish wants to know, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten from pro wrestlers, both professional and personal?
Oh, that's great. That's an easy one. Time heals all wounds, I think, is the number one thing I hear forever. No matter what happens, someone will always forgive you. It's just wrestling. Number 2, don't date women in wrestling. And I stand by that. And I will tell every young buck who's trying to hit the ropes right now for the first time in their life, date whoever you want. Just don't let her work in the wrestling business. I stand by this.
Perfect. Good advice. Papa Smokes, before we run a little too long here, what else you got for us before we wrap things up?
I don't know. I was just thinking about the tag team scene in MLW. We touched on it slightly a couple of minutes ago, but we've got some pretty solid teams kicking around. I'm not sure about the new season, but we should at least have the Von Erichs, Samoan SWAT team, Los Parks, and then the champs, Crybaby Calvin and EJ and Duca. Where do you guys think you fit in there? And do you think you can work your way through the ranks to a shot at the champions? And how would you do against the champions?
Listen, we went up against the champions once. We got a little played out. We were short notice, regardless of that. But we'll see what happens with those two coming out of the Battle Riot. But Los Parks definitely will not be back. We'll never see them ever again, and can't see if I never see you before you die, it'll still be too soon. So those guys are gone, thankfully. We'll see if the Von Erich show up. It seems like every time these dudes are scheduled to fight, they back out. I just don't think they want to get beat up. But I'm sure they'll pop their heads in because we'll go back to Texas and it won't be a long drive. But I know the FBI is coming back this weekend. I know we have the Samoan SWAT team, and we'll just pick them off one by one. I think we'll show this weekend the Bulldogs and Dynamite's little nephews who the man is, who the man are, what Boombaye stands for. It's Boombaye Fight Club for a reason. We're coming to fight. But I think we'll be fine. As long as we're given the opportunity, we'll start with this 6-man and we'll clip off a couple teams. And again, I'm still calling out Microman. If he wants to show up, we'll take those guys down too. I got no issues with that. I do not discriminate. I'll kick his forehead right off like I'll do anybody else. Again, that challenge is out there. He won't come see me. Me and Miko, let's get it. So
Just punt him like a football.
listen, I won't let him go. I won't let him go. So
Mel
we'll be
Ball
okay. We want those belts. I think those belts they're great. We need some gold. So the bags are a little lighter. Trying to get those paychecks ramped back up, and a champion bonus would be good this time around.
We got a question here, follow up kind of to the Don't Date Women in Wrestling from Melball Collins, who, first of all, is the most wonderful fan of Filthy Tom Lawler and his Daisy Duke shorts. I know she's dying for an opportunity to get up close to that. But she wants to know, what if women just review wrestling? Are they still dateable at that point? Because I know she wants this message to get through to Filthy Tom.
Listen, Filthy Tom is happily married, number one. Number two, I love Tom Lawler. He's the greatest ever. Number three, if she's ever watched a second of wrestling ever in her life, let her go. Just let her go. If she knows it's WWE now and not WWF, gotta roll, man. If she's ever says anything other than, "Oh, my brother used to watch that," no.
Yeah.
Say what?
That's a harsh stance, but I can see you. It's from
I
experience.
say that lighthearted. No, if she
Yeah.
reviews wrestling, it's all good as long as she can, I don't know, cook and is nice to you, I guess. I don't know. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Melball is a Chikara fan. So if there's anybody that would ever let to do that 5-hour stream talking to Chikara, then that's definitely
We'll
who we got
do a
to put it up
telethon
with.
of some sort.
So, there we go. Papa Smokes, before we let our special guest go here, anything else you want to ask to wrap things up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just to wrap up, I always like to ask our guests to give a shout out to someone who inspired you or made you work harder or supported you or anything like that in your journey in wrestling. Here's your moment. Give somebody some props.
I'll give 2 people a shout out. 2 people who I never shout out. Number one, I rarely talk about wrestling in real life to people who don't know about things for obvious reasons. But Mr. Perfect was always my favorite growing up. Don't know why. It's just, I think it was at the time where I was at a very impressionable age and the vignettes really stuck to me. And I knew I loved the bad guys, but something about a white man with a blonde, curly poodle hair doing backflips into a pool when I was 5 years old. To this day, my number one. Everyone knows Mr. Perfect's my number one. My gamer tag is Mr. Perfect, and it's not because I think I'm a perfect human. It is specifically because Kurt Hennig was my favorite wrestler of all time.
Wow.
That's my number one. I wouldn't say he's the reason why I got in, but the reason I made it this far, if anyone knows my old tag partner, Max Smashmaster, he is my number one. He's my best friend in the history of life. Him and I were thrown together randomly just because we were 2 big guys that kind of looked like they could be cool. But he's literally my soulmate. If his wife didn't marry him, I would have given the opportunity. If you know what I mean. So it's one of those things where, he kind of pushes me, inspires me, and lets me know that, brings me back to reality on the day that I have my bad moods, and because I could be known to be an angry, miserable person to be around once upon a time. But he helped me get past that and just let me know I wasn't always the drizzling shits, but also carried me because out of the 2 of us, he was the better worker, still is. So when I was coming to tag out and catch my breath, he could put the boots on. So.
Well, hopefully, if you wake up on Sunday and you're having a bad day, you can take it out.
He's the first person I text when I'm on the way. And listen, if you want to learn more from Max Smashmaster, he's now a trainer. He has the New England Pro Wrestling Academy up in New England. I talk a lot of trash about New England wrestling. That's only because I love all those idiots that come out of there. Some of the best wrestlers in the world have come out of not only that school, but that area. Max Smashmaster being one of them. But he decides to have a real job and have a wife and a family and not be in pain and teach the future of the world. His kids are getting tryouts and getting signed right now. So we love Max Smashmaster. That's your free plug for your wrestling school. So find them, New England Pro Wrestling Academy, Max Smashmaster. He got banned off Twitter for something very stupid. So find him. He's out there somewhere. I think he's on Instagram.
I'm surprised we haven't got banned off there ourselves, but that's just the way the world goes these days. But it is what it is. But
Stay within
first
the
of all,
guidelines, fellas.
we just want to say a big thank you for joining us here today. And before you take off, opportunity to plug anything you got coming up, your social media, anywhere that people can
Sure.
reach out to you, find out more.
Yeah, we'll check out MLW. Check out MLW.com. We're coming live this Sunday in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my hometown. Go Phillies. We'll be right in the middle of the World Series. So we got Friday, Saturday in Houston. We have a lovely day off, not for football, for MLW. And then we come back to Philadelphia Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the World Series. I don't know why I'm plugging baseball, but I feel like this is a big deal for me. It should be a big deal for everyone. You can get your tickets now at MLW2300.com. It'll take you right to the link. You can check me out. I'll be on. We have a full bar. Listen, anyone that's in Philadelphia or around Philadelphia within an hour or two vicinity, if you've driven to the ECW arena before, it's a brand new building. I know it's been there since the 1800s, but totally renovated. It's a great place to watch wrestling. It has a full bar. The hot dogs are clutch. It's right around the corner from the good cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. I can't emphasize it enough. You can buy me a tequila and ginger ale after the show. We can hang out. All those fun things. Boombaye will be there. Microman will be there. My personal favorite wrestler still won't give me that match. So come check it out. Boombaye. I don't normally do that. He does.
No.
I think that's how I'm feeling.
Hell yeah.
Check me on Instagram and whatever the other one is, the Twitter machine. It's at Mocha Traps. Mocha like my skin. Traps like these. I don't do that trap stuff, but these kind of traps.
Yeah.
So at Mocha Traps, you can follow me. That's where I'm at. Real life me. It's just pictures of me and Microman. That's literally all it is.
Perfect. That's where check it out. Everybody go check out Mr. Thomas on all the socials. Check out MLW. Get tickets and go buy the man a ginger and tequila because that's one hell of a drink right there. That sounds like a fun time. And if we're ever out your neck of the woods,
that.
guaranteed Papa Smokes and I are coming down for some tequila.
I'm
and
coming to
ginger.
Saskatoon. I just got my passport renewed.
All right, there we go.
All that stuff from back in the day is falling off, so the Mounties won't give me any issues about crossing the border. So I'm gonna come hang out. We're gonna hit the gym. We're gonna party.
Perfect. What we'll do
All
is we'll
right.
get you on a Prairie Pro Wrestling show out here, and you can come take care of some of the guys who look at us a little wrong way when we're down at ringside there.
I'll fight anyone for money.
Perfect. We'll make it happen. But thank you very much for joining us here today. Really appreciate your time, and look forward to being able to talk to you again very soon.
Boombaye.
Oh my!
Thanks, Mr. Thomas.
What a wonderful interview that was. And again, as Chris Parrish says, ole, Mr. Thomas, ole indeed all around. Yeah, you bet. What a hell of a guy, hell of an interview. This was a lot of fun, Papa Smokes. I can't say enough good things about this interview. Possibly one of my favorites to date so far.
For sure. What a great guy. And we've been so lucky with our interviews. Another guy that's having some fun, letting his hair down a little bit and just having a chat about wrestling. What a good time.
Yeah, it is a great time as always. And you know what is also a great time and letting our hair down is Pop Spokes. We're now on our local establishment. We came over from personal Twitch channel, did really well over there. And now we're here on our local establishment, just pushing towards affiliate. We're almost there within the first week. Thanks to every single one of you out there because you're making this a dream come true. And also to all the other contributors within the channel as well, too. You guys are wonderful human beings. You do great content. I mean, we had a great successful week so far. I mean, we had Paramindful debut on Monday night. We had both Turnbuckle Talk and Taking Over on Tuesday. We've got our show here tonight. We've got an episode of Ring Respect Radio coming your way tomorrow as well, too. So it's just all sorts of great stuff. I believe it's Friday at 6 Mountain Time, if I'm not mistaken. Join Andre C. right here on our local establishment as he's doing a watch-along of the New Japan Pro Wrestling 44th Street Battle Royal Southern Bell. Please correct me. I know I'm probably not getting all the information there, but definitely check that out here on the channel. There's going to be some great content there. Also, again, busting out with Chris Parrish on Sunday is going to be a great time. And speaking of Chris Parrish, it's Pop Spokes' Ole debut, and he has to redo the Ole Pod Challenge as well, too. So I guess
I got to
we're back.
redo it.
You got to redo it now that we're on Ole officially. Is Parrish's new forte here?
Oh, okay. All right. Let's get ready here. Ole!
There we go. We got it. We're collecting them all week, all month, every single day of the weekend. And we got a lot of great things coming up for you guys here on our local establishment. Not just wrestling related, but related to just about anything worldwide, whether it is things that are spooky-ish or in stuff to do with music, television, movies. We've also got coming up very, very soon. We just started recording season number 2 of Beats and Beatdowns. Yes, Carl and I are back with Beats and Beatdowns, the shows that talks about professional wrestling and music, the influence of music on professional wrestling. 3 episodes in the bag, and we're working towards a fantastic finale where we've been alluding to a very special guest. Yes, there's a very special guest going to be joining us for a very special live edition of Beats and Beatdowns at the end of the season that we are very much looking forward to it. And Paris saying Papa Ole in the house. There we go. Papa Ole at this point. And Auntie Wuji loves it, of course. And I love you guys. Keep killing it, guy. Yeah, we love you too, Parrish. We love every single one of you guys. You do fantastic work for us, and everybody's been doing a great job putting over the video bros. We couldn't have made it this far without the help of and support of all the fans and all of our friends that we've made along the way. And man, I'm psyched, Papa Smokes. Next week, finally, with no more retroactive, we're going interview free next week, 100%. Next week's episode of Fusion is all about the Battle Riot number 4, and it is going to be awesome. Battle Riot, for anybody who doesn't know, very, very similar. Okay, before I even say it, fuck, this is a good one. Video Brole. Okay, good. Parrish. Yeah, all right, man. Yeah, I love that. That's
the pun meister.
Yeah. But yeah, we're talking Battle Riot number 4 as of next Thursday. Check out Pro Wrestling TV for that. It is absolutely free, so no payment required to be able to enjoy MLW moving forward. So don't worry about the fact that they're not on YouTube. You can still check them out at Pro Wrestling TV. The only thing you have to do is avoid that Control Your Narrative program that occasionally comes on Pro Wrestling TV. Other than that, you're in the clear. They have good content over there. But I'm very much looking forward to this, Papa Smokes. And to let everybody know, 40-man battle royal. They're not just the standard over-the-top rope rules, but this also includes pinfalls and submissions, which we have seen used very prominently in the other battle riots. We even talked heavily about the first one, where Filthy Tom Lawler eliminated a good chunk of the opponents in there by a submission.
Yeah, he used his rear naked chokehold on a whole bunch of guys in that previous battle riot that we watched. So, and I think we saw EJ and Duca in last year's one get a couple of pinfalls in it as well, because he eliminated 5 or 6 people from it. So never safe. Even if you stay away from the ropes, you're still vulnerable to pinfall or submission.
And we saw the debut of Alex Kane last year as well, too, in the Battle Riot. So, again, we're going to see a lot of new faces introduced to the MLW fold. We know Mr. Thomas kind of let us in on a few names there that are dropping this coming Sunday. Again, those tapings will be taking place, will be entered into the fold down the road. But he said about Delirious joining MLW as of this Sunday. This is all good. I mean, I almost feel like MLW just keeps adding some of the best. They've kind of weeded out some of the guys that we weren't too fond of from a few years ago, and they're really starting to bring in some hard-hitting wrestling type wrestlers into the fold now, and it's going to be fantastic. We know there's going to be work with Dragon's Gate, there's going to be work with AAA, a lot of diversity coming to the Fusion season.
Yeah, and I'm really glad about this, because I've always looked at MLW, and I think a lot of other people do too, as it's a way for young and independent wrestlers to get some good experience, to get on TV. It's not TV per se, but on a TV show, to learn how to be a wrestler in a ring on TV and doing promos. This is tremendous experience for any fledgling wrestler. You can still probably be yourself to a certain extent in MLW. I don't think they ram gimmicks down people's throats so much as some of the other big companies do. But this is a place, where you don't have to learn your craft on a national TV network in front of people, as we see other wrestlers doing in the other main companies every week on TV. And it's kind of weird to think that they're still learning and that they're having their first handfuls of matches on national TV. MLW is a place just not quite so wide in its range, but where the independent and less experienced wrestlers can be themselves and get some good hours in under their belt.
Yeah, and get some good hours working with some very experienced veterans at the same time. Because I mean, not to say that they don't have guys like Davey Richards, who has been doing this thing for a long time and is, honestly having some of the best work of his life. We're finally going to get to see that national open weight championship match down the road here soon between Davey Richards and last week's special guest Alex Kane. I mean, I'm looking forward to what is on deck, despite the fact that unfortunately we do know some of the results of what has happened over the last few tapings. It doesn't take away from me, Pop Smokes. I'm still excited and look forward to seeing the quality that these guys are going to produce inside the squared circle.
Yeah, and I think it's very clever that they use Battle Riot as their season opening show, because this is the big show with all the talent that they're potentially going to use for the next season coming up. So this is like a showcase where we can see the new people coming in, and there's 40 combatants in the Battle Riot. That's a lot of wrestlers, and not all of those will be being used on the roster regularly for the Fusion TV show, but we will still get to see all the new faces in the Battle Riot, and just like other battle royals that we've seen, where the competitors enter one by one every 2 minutes. It's got a good sense of suspense and everything, and the fans love anticipating who's going to be the next to walk through the curtain.
Yeah, lots of anticipation moving into this. Looking forward to it. It has been far too long since we got to see brand new episodes of MLW Fusion, but thankfully, as of next week, like we said, you're going to be able to join us here on Fusion to find all about the Battle Riot. But we do encourage each and every one of you to go check out Pro Wrestling TV and check out the Battle Riot for yourself, especially if, maybe you're not going to, invest in MLW week by week by week. We all know you like a good battle royal. Everybody loves a good battle royal. So go and check it out at least next Thursday. Check out the Battle Riot, see all the surprise names, see all the new faces, see all the stars that they've got working through that thing. And man, that is a stacked deck. We know from the announcements that they did have. It is going to be fantastic. But let's talk about another show just for a moment here, Pop Smokes, before we wrap up here on Fusion. I want to talk about something that you and I have going on this Saturday. And I'm not talking about the weekly match for Prairie Pro Wrestling that's released on YouTube, which you can also check out on the YouTube channel for Prairie Pro Wrestling. But I'm going to talk about the live action for Prairie Pro Wrestling one last time here. I'm talking about Ring of Horrors. PPW presents Ring of Horrors. And speaking of battle royals, we do have a costume gimmick battle royal going on this Saturday for all the fans in attendance. But bigger than that, we had him on the Bro Show just this week, that debuted this week, the very first episode. Cutthroat Colton Kelly is getting the opportunity to fight Sheik Akbar Shabazz in a match one-on-one for the PPW Heavyweight Championship. Man, I am looking forward to this. This should be a hell of a hard-hitting slugfest between two of the best in PPW.
We've already seen Sheik Akbar Shabazz for years be a complete jerk to the fans and an underhanded villain in the ring. Now he's cheated and beaten and gotten his way to the PPW Heavyweight Championship. Just every fan's disaster scenario, right? And now he's got a stranglehold on that heavyweight title. We had Cannonball Kelly come in to challenge him at the September Slobber Knocker. He threw everything at Sheik Shabazz, everything, including the kitchen sink. They fought in the crowd, in the back, in the concessions, in the parking lot, everywhere, all around. You and I were trying to film that, Munson. It was insane. We're climbing over crowd barriers, trying to follow them with cameras. And with all that, Cannonball Kelly couldn't get that belt off Sheik Akbar Shabazz. Now, Colton Kelly has come for the last 3 or 4 PPW shows and has really bonded with the fans. They like him. He's a good guy. He doesn't cheat. And he's a cool looking guy, and the fans took to him immediately. But my question always is going to be, what's he going to have to do to defeat Sheik Akbar Shabazz? That's the real big question in this.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting match to say the least. But remember that Cutthroat Colton Kelly has got his undefeated streak on the line as well, too. And again, you say, what does he have to do? They did steal a beer. I think Cannonball still owes for that one, but we'll put it on Cheeky's tab. I think, but I'm sure the champ can afford it. But with that being said, here's to you, Chris Parrish. We're going to have that match go down. And Colton Kelly, we can sit there and debate what he has to throw at Sheik Akbar Shabazz. But man, I would have questioned the same thing about what does he have to throw at someone the likes of El Assassino. And at the September Slobber Knocker, we saw him take Assassino to the limits and defeat one of the most decorated professionals in all of Western Canadian wrestling history.
Yeah, you make a good point. And Assassino was not messing around in that match whatsoever. Do you remember the sounds of those chest slaps had to ring out throughout the entire city? I saw Colton Kelly right after that match, and his chest was just, it looked like hamburger. It was just bright, brimming red. Like, it was just unbelievable looking. But I have to say also, I don't think we've seen all that Colton Kelly has to offer yet. Yes, we've seen him in 4 competitive matches in the past, but this is now a championship match, and we all know that wrestlers will pull out all the stops to try and beat a champion in a championship match. So I think he's probably still got some tricks in his bag for Sheik Akbar Shabazz.
Yeah, these two no strangers to each other. This will be their first time in Prairie Pro Wrestling locking up, but again, they have locked horns in Alberta wrestling, and again, we're going to be in for an absolute treat, and the fans are going to be in for an absolute treat. It is going to sell out, Papa Smokes. We have had ads running on local radio stations here in Saskatoon. We have got posters all over the place, advertisements all over the place. We got Vance Nevada coming in to sell and autograph his personal book that he wrote all about the professional wrestling across Canada through history. Looking forward to meeting Vance Nevada, getting that book, getting him to sign it, and also to be able to have the opportunity to not only read, but we're going to review it on Ring Respect Radio down the road as well too.
Yeah, definitely. What a bonus to that show that Vance Nevada will be there. Famous Canadian wrestler, and a very highly thought of book that has just come out recently. I've been thinking of getting this book or ordering it anyway. Now I think I get it right from the source. And like you say, let's go over that. It's an encyclopedic presentation of wrestling in Canada by province and time period by time period. This is right up my alley. Let's fill in any of those blank spots we had in our Canadian wrestling knowledge, and we'll talk about it on our podcast in the future.
Yeah, you bet. And I've heard nothing but positive reviews from everybody who's had an opportunity to check this book out and stuff like that. Even some of the harshest critics across the world have had nothing but praise for Vance Nevada's book here. It is charting on Amazon book sales as the #1 sought after book on Amazon right now. These are not usual things you associate with Canadian wrestler, but Vance Nevada is really changing that game for somebody. You know, I mean, it would be different if we're talking about somebody who had been 6-7 time WWF champion or something like that. Vance Nevada is not that guy, but he has a knowledge so deep in the history of Canadian wrestling that he's able to give something here that people want to read, are excited to read. And damn it, Pop Smokes, I think we're even going to put our other book review on hold just so we can get in on this one.
Yeah, not a bad idea. And we need this in wrestling, just like every area of culture needs this, is the historians who keep track of primary documents and primary information, descriptions of cards, layouts of cards, payoff slips, all that stuff that gives direct information about the history of wrestling in the various cities and territories across Canada. This is going to be a very, very useful and excellent book. And like I say, we all have little holes in our wrestling knowledge, but this is a way you can fill those up by studying the stuff that you never knew before.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. So if you are going to be in Saskatoon this weekend on Saturday, make sure to get your tickets in advance from any of our great sponsors, or you can reach out to Prairie Pro Wrestling and do an e-transfer here in Canada, be able to secure your ticket, because again, these things sell right out. The lineups go down the street, around the block. You think that they're all lined up for the bar next door. They're not lined up for the bar. They're lined up to come see the best, hottest action in Canadian professional wrestling, and that is Prairie Pro Wrestling. We are the hottest thing going in Western Canada this weekend, and looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. Papa Smokes, you and I will be down there filming as always, get ready to get these things geared up and ready for YouTube. Looking forward to seeing a lot of our friends. And also, we know there's a lot of other good shows out this weekend all over the place too. We like to say we're the hottest thing, but Western Canadian wrestling in general is the hottest thing. And, kudos to everybody else putting on shows this weekend, and to all of our friends in the industry who've got matches this weekend. Best of luck to you. Stay safe out there as well, too. We want to make sure that you guys have the best of time. Everybody gets quality matches. Doesn't matter what province, what company, or where you're working. Just go and be your best you out there, and looking forward to it. Pop Smokes, we're running up to the hour mark. It's that time to call it an end. I want to know, let the fans know, where can they find Papa Smokes and send you some matches that they like to watch, and just chit chat with you until next week.
Yeah, I'm constantly getting cards and letters in the mail, but you can also reach me on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland at smokes_papa, or on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
And there you go. I won't bore you with all the details of mine, but if you look at the ticker down below, you'll find my details right down there. As always, you can catch us here on Thursday nights. In a little bit, you'll be able to catch over at Backbreaker Media our good friends Astrid and Cody, giving you all the review of tonight's Impact Wrestling on Making an Impact. So make sure you get over there, sub to the channel, and check that out as well, too. You're going to be able to catch me probably this weekend in some way, shape, or form Saturday, whether it's Saturday before the PPW show or after. I'm going to try to get on here to do an episode of the Bravado, talk all things music, movies. I'll probably throw some PPW chat in there as well, too. Might as well. And then Sunday, I'll be back with my brunch buster brother, Mr. Chris Parrish, as we bring you another episode of Busting Out. Other than that, again, check out the ticker below. That's where you find me on the socials. And hey, just above Papa Smokes there, you see that QR code there? Go ahead and scan that shit. It's going to take you over to our friends over at Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy have got a alternative to the average energy drink that you find in the stores. Wonderful flavors, great reviews from Melball Collins, who's got her order just recently, saying that everything is just spot on, delicious, gives you a lot of energy, a lot of clarity within your mind, and the opportunity to stay up and party, work, whatever it is, whatever your niche. Rogue Energy has got you set. So go check out that QR code, or if you're not into QR codes, I'll put it up, the ticker up below if I can find her here. There she is. Got a whole list of tickers there. There she is. And you can check out rogueenergy.com down below. Make sure to use that promo code OLEPODS. That's going to get you 10% off of that order. We want to make sure that we save you some money from our friends over at Rogue Energy. And Auntie Wuji saying, keep this great stuff coming. I'm enjoying the hell out of all this things. We appreciate you joining every single week, commenting, getting in the conversation. And we also appreciate everything you do for Prairie Pro Wrestling. You are one of the unsung heroes of the professional wrestling industry as far as we are concerned. So thank you. And we're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. It'd be good to catch up. Papa Smokes, that's going to be it for us tonight on Fusion. Looking forward to next week where it's all about the Battle Riot. We're going to have a good old time there. But thank you. And in the meantime, and in between time, folks, have fun, stay safe, enjoy wrestling, and we'll see you next Thursday. Take care.